I am so happy that 2020 is almost over. Most of us have put on some form of pandemic weight because our diet and lifestyle routines have changed. Many of us experience these effects of change within our gut and immune system, and it's time to make that better. My guest today is Richard Cividanes, who is the National Science Educator for Host Defense Mushrooms. He has over 25 years' experience in the natural products industry and is always excited to share his love and admiration of the fungal kingdom. Welcome to the show, Richard.
Hey, good day, Brian. It's really a pleasure to be here with you today. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate you too and your knowledge that you bring to this particular subject because we've just about made it through the holidays and we know how stressful 2020 was for most people. And the holidays always bring this great food, especially all the carbs and sugars. And now everybody's dealing with this post-holiday gut problems and we need to help them get back on track. So I wanted to bring you on today to discuss about how we get the gut health back and get our immune system strong again. So in your opinion, where should people start with this?
Well, I think a good place to start, really is the idea of, as you mentioned, the gut. It's a great place to start. There are a lot of ethnobotanical traditions around the world that consider both health and illness beginning within our digestive tract. So it's an excellent place to start. And that as far as mushrooms go, there's a lot of benefit that can be created there from the mushroom beneficial species.
Well, why is it so important to support your immune system every day and not just in the wintertime like we're dealing with now?
No, it's a great question. Well, our immune system, it is working for us every nanosecond of every minute, of every hour of every day. It never stops doing its job. So even though we spend more time, particularly in the fall and the winter, considering immune health, it is something that is with us the entire arc of our lives, and supporting it regularly is I think, in my opinion, it's a great idea in order to help provide a better opportunity for health and longevity for sure.
So speaking of mushrooms, let's talk about the benefits of it. How do the mushrooms actually benefit your body and really how do they work?
Sure. Well, yeah, that's a big question. That could take a number of different podcast episodes. But for first, we share a significant amount of genes with our fungal friends, right? We share around 55% of the same DNA between animals and fungi. And all aspects of the mushroom organism, the mycelium, the fruit bodies, even the substrate that the mushroom mycelium grows within, contain health supportive compounds. So, for instance, mushroom mycelium, which is the network of fungal filaments that grows mostly unseen within the ecosystems that the mushrooms live in, that's the part of the mushroom organism that secretes enzymes, it secretes immune complexes, and produces other novel compounds that are not found within the fruiting body. And we have the ability nowadays to capture and conserve these compounds for our health and our longevity. And the substrate that the mycelium grows in contains the culture metabolites, which are created as the mushroom's digestive enzymes are fermenting their growing substrate. So these culture metabolites contain supportive compounds like enzymes and prebiotics and antioxidants, as well as the mushroom's immune complexes. So in the case of the host defense mushrooms, the mycelium that we grow specifically for our brand, the mycelium is grown on organic brown rice. So another added benefit comes from the digestion of the rice starch and the rice fiber from the mycelial digestive enzymes. And that converts a significant amount of the rice starch into these highly nutritive compounds, including immune-supporting polysaccharides that are called arabinoxylenes. So the mushroom mycelium, it is a long word, right? Arabinoxylene.
Yes.
So the mycelium, the fermented substrate, and the fruit bodies, they all contain many of these supportive compounds that help to support our body. And then there's also compounds in the beneficial mushrooms that engage our immune system, and they also help to keep our immune system in a balanced zone, what we like to call at the host defense education team, the Goldilocks zone, right? Where the immune system's not functioning too hot and it's not functioning too cold, but you're getting it into balance, which is where you have the best opportunity.
Well, you mentioned prebiotics, the function that mushrooms can play as a prebiotic. I never really thought about it that way, but you're right. The benefits that they provide for the gut microbiome, I've never thought about them as a prebiotic source.
Absolutely. And then both the beneficial mushroom species that we work with, as well as your edible mushroom species, have the opportunity to be a prebiotic food source for our probiotic microflora within our digestive tract.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So are there mushrooms that can assist in managing a healthy blood sugar level as well?
There are a number of different mushrooms that have the opportunity to help support a healthy blood sugar. Yes, there is. We have mushrooms such as reishi, such as lion's mane, chaga. Maitake is a really important mushroom that can help to support healthy blood sugar levels already within the normal range. This whole sugar can be really problematic for people, and increased sugar consumption can lead to a lot of unwanted health effects, including things like unwanted weight gain or metabolic issues. And we have this issue happening today where there's the ubiquitous use of high fructose corn syrup in so many of our processed foods and beverages, and that's one of the main reasons the rate of sugar consumption has risen to such dramatic proportions. And that high fructose corn syrup can really negatively impact our health in a number of ways. And unfortunately, one of the hard truths is that the older that we get, the harder it is for our bodies to actually handle this consistent intake of sugar. And there could be potentially widespread like oxidative damage that's caused by the sugar. So refined sugars can really be quite problematic. So some of the mushrooms that I mentioned, like maitake, for instance, which is both a wonderfully delicious edible mushroom that you can find in many parts of the country now in our grocery stores and health food stores. This is also a beneficial mushroom that has been the focus of a lot of repeated research regarding blood glucose support. So the maitake mycelia specifically has been identified as a support for balanced blood glucose levels after meals. Reishi, which I mentioned, which is sometimes known as the imperial tonic or the mushroom of immortality. It's a very strong immune modulating mushroom. This one has also been shown in research to beneficially impact our plasma glucose and plasma insulin, as well as cholesterol and triglycerides when they're within the normal range. There's a lot of research on chaga mycelium as well that shows that it too may beneficially impact our glucose levels within the normal range. And chaga also acts as a very strong antioxidant, so it may help with the oxidative damage which can be caused by refined sugars.
Yeah, chaga is one of my favorite mushrooms. I love drinking chaga just as a natural tea all the time. But I love about what Host Defense does. They've actually put it into the extract form, so it's very therapeutic for just those things, that antioxidant benefits you're getting from it. So it's definitely one of my
Absolutely.
favorites. So we got we know that the stress of what blood sugar does to our body can really mess up our gut microbiome. And I know you talked about maitake and shiitake being some of the bigger ones to help with that immune system modulation per se. What about, we got the New Year's resolutions coming up and people are going to start exercising now. So how can mushrooms help those people who are trying to become more active?
No, it's a great question. There's a number of the beneficial mushroom species that have the opportunity to support some of the functions in our body that are directly related to exercise. And we have mushrooms like a couple of the ones that I've already mentioned, reishi, which is again, it's just a
Just a
phenomenal
be all
mushroom.
mushroom, yeah.
It really is. For most people, it is a mushroom of the beneficial variety that really could be considered. There's been research done on this mushroom for decades. It's been shown to support nearly every system of our body. And Cordyceps militaris is another phenomenal mushroom when we're considering how you can support your system when you're exercising. We at Host Defense, we produce a product that's called Cordycheese. So it's the two mushrooms, Cordyceps militaris and reishi, in equal parts together. Both of these mushrooms can help to support your physical activity as well as the recovery from physical activity as well. They cordyceps is great at helping to support oxygenation of our body. So when you're exercising, you definitely want to be bringing in more oxygen. It can reduce lactic acid production in our muscle cells. So again, helping with that recovery process. And it helps to support endurance in the body as well, and helping the body to adapt to the stressors that are occurring when you're actually exercising. I regularly run. I'm not a super long distance runner, but I regularly do 4 to 10 mile runs. And for myself personally, I find that I use our cordyceps extract pretty regularly. I take it 30 minutes to 45 minutes usually before I go out for my run. And I notice a difference between the days where I use it and the days that I don't. Like I can push through those last few miles a little bit more consistently. Now it's just an N of one study; it's just me, but I definitely notice a physiological difference when I'm actually using that cordyceps. And again, both the cordyceps and the reishi are going to help to provide some antioxidant support that's going to support you during that exertion that you're doing as well.
And the cordyceps mushroom, that's also great for fatigue issues, right? Or just needing more energy. I mean, I know you said endurance,
It,
but I always looked at it as far as helping people with energy.
Absolutely. It is an energizing mushroom, but not in a stimulant kind of a way. One of the things that cordyceps has been shown to do is it can support immediate energy as well as our muscle cell ATP. And ATP formation that's the energy of our cells. So it really helps to support that base energetic function to our cellular mechanisms.
Well, for the consumer walking into the store, and like you said, there's tons of mushrooms out there. How does a customer look to make sure they're choosing a good brand of mushrooms? What do they need to look for?
Great question. No, it's really important, I believe, to look for certified organic. Checking with the store staff as well, because the staff oftentimes have a lot of knowledge and information that has been communicated to them from the different brands. Ensuring that the brand is doing their due diligence in doing testing of the product, the ingredients and the products to ensure safety and efficacy. Both mushrooms and herbs have the ability to be bioaccumulators, which means that they can uptake what is found within the growing substrate that they are growing within. And nowadays, with industrial compounds and heavy metals, pesticides being so problematic, just because something is certified organic doesn't necessarily mean it's never interacted with any of those types of compounds. So ensuring that the company is doing their work in order to ensure that the product is safe, I think is the most important aspect of making sure that you have the product that you can safely feel like you can get behind and then use regularly for your health. Because the last thing we want to do is be consuming a product regularly to support our health that might unknowingly have some of these compounds in them that are going to do the exact opposite of provide health benefit to us.
So it's important to look for a good quality brand like Host Defense is, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's one of the things that is that I find really remarkable about the culture of the company. Host Defense Fungi Perfecti, who's the company that produces the brand, they really do their due diligence. They have third-party laboratories that test the ingredients, and we're testing for microbiological contamination, industrial compounds, heavy metals, pesticides, to ensure that the end product is safe for the end user. And we also have, USDA organic status. We're certified organic growers and manufacturers of our mushrooms. We do those additional steps as well because it's really important. It's something that we don't want to cut corners with, for sure.
That's right. And another choice consumers have to make when they walk into a health food store like ours is extracts versus capsules. Which one's better? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And they both play their part in their role, and I find that it really does come down to personal preference. Some people don't like to take pills, or they're already taking enough pills, and so they may feel drawn immediately to the extracts because of that consideration. I find that for long-term support, the capsules or the mushroom powders is a great way to go. They're concentrated. It's milled very fine, so even if you're using the powder, it mixes easily into any of your favorite beverages. And your that opportunity is going to provide you with a lot of the compounds that are available in the mushrooms. Now, the extracts, because they're liquid, you may get a more immediate immune engagement with the extracts. But it's hard to say which is better, because it really does come down to personal preference and what you're looking to accomplish with the goals of taking the supplement itself. Again, just speaking from my own experience and perspective of using these supplements for a long time, I utilize both of them in different times. So when I mentioned earlier that I utilize our Cortichi before my runs, I use the liquid extract of that. At times when sometimes I have compromised respiratory functioning and get like allergic reactivity that makes it a little bit more difficult for me to breathe easily. During those times, I usually use the extracts because I'm going to get that more immediate immune engagement. But on the daily, day-to-day, practically every morning, I mix a couple of our mushroom mycelium powders into my morning smoothie or just into water, and drink those and use that as my regular every single day product that I'm utilizing.
So what I hear you saying is really using the extracts for more immediate responses. Like if we start getting that scratchy throat, or maybe we're traveling on an airplane and we want to protect ourselves while we're traveling from point A to point B. But the capsules would be good as a general everyday use for a lot of people.
I think that is very succinct, and absolutely, yeah. One of the things that I would do regularly when flying on airplanes a lot is have the tinctures with me that I would take prior to going into the airport, and then when I'm getting onto the plane, according to how long the flight was, maybe I would use them again even on the flight one more time, just to help to support and bolster that immune support that they provide.
Well, Richard, what do you say to people who are allergic to mushrooms? Can they do this?
That's a great question. I think it's important that we always kind of proceed with caution. If you're you're allergic to like your white button mushrooms, you might want to, if you're going to consider using them, I would suggest starting off very slowly. Not taking the regular serving size that's suggested on the bottle. I think it's important that you start doing that. If you work closely with a healthcare provider or practitioner, it's a great conversation to have with that person. But starting off slow, just a little tiny bit, seeing how you react. Oftentimes people will not have allergic reactivity to the beneficial mushrooms, but there will always be that individual who's going to have reactivity no matter what kind of mushroom they're using. And so I think it's really important to proceed with caution in that space and place. I myself know some individuals who have allergic reactivity to mushrooms, and they don't have the same response in their body when they're using the beneficial mushroom species.
Very interesting. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's just the same process that happens when, if a person's allergic to chamomile, let's say, there may not necessarily be allergic to dill or another species that's in the same family as chamomile. All of these individual species contain their own compounds and nutrient profiles. And so it does not necessarily mean that a compound that you're allergic to in one species is going to be across all of the species in the same kingdom.
So tell me, for controlling the immune system and helping with blood sugar, we talk about there's lots of mushrooms on the market. Give me your top 2 or 3 products that you would start with to really help support this process.
To support blood sugar?
Yeah, let's start with blood sugar. What's the best mushroom that you would use right now?
I would consider, if you're using an individual mushroom species, maitake. I believe maitake would be the one to go to. That is, again, there is a large amount of research data from around the world. That mushroom has been heavily studied for its ability to support our relationship with sugars. So that would be where I would begin. And again, this is another mushroom that's the opportunity. You can get it in supplement form. I mean, it's been it's been used as a supplement for about 40 years here in the United States of America, right? And at the same time, like I mentioned, in many parts of the country now, you can go into your produce sections and you can find organic maitake. And if you have never tried this mushroom, it is an excellent one to start that kind of relationship with some of these other edible mushrooms, other than just the creminis and portobellos. In my opinion, it's one of mine and my family's favorite edible mushrooms to consume. Even my 6-year-old daughter, oftentimes she's always stealing the maitake off of my plate during dinner when we cook it. And here you are now adding something that's beneficial into your diet regularly that really has been shown to be supportive.
Yeah, maitake to me has always been sort of the aloe vera of the mushroom world. It's got so many different benefits, and that's why it is a great
It's
place.
true.
Would you use that same mushroom for that person with a little bit of dysbiosis or gut problems after the holidays? Would you still recommend maitake being number one, or is there another one?
Maitake could be a good consideration for that. I would think I would shift more towards, reishi, lion's mane, chaga. Those three mushrooms, they have this wonderful opportunity to be supportive not only of our probiotic microbiome, but they're also supportive of the digestive tract. They help to support the epithelial cells, which is what lines our intestines, and they're also supportive of our digestive immune tissue. That's really important because a very large percentage of our immune cells reside within our digestive tract. So the reishi, lion's mane, chaga, those would be the three that I would more suggest if a person is in that dysbiotic state. And there's other mushrooms too. I mean, the turkey tail, Cordyceps militaris, those two species as well have some real excellent scientific research that shows that they are also supporting the probiotics as prebiotic material. In fact, the host defense, we have one of our mycobotanicals formulas, which is called Mycobotanicals Microbiome. That's a formula that contains 3 mushrooms. It is reishi, chaga, and turkey tail. It has 2 organic herbs, burdock root and marshmallow root, which are both demulcent herbs that help to support our digestive tract, and they support the mucopolysaccharide layer of our digestive tract, which is the home for our probiotic microflora, as well as it helps to feed our probiotic microflora. And then there are 3 probiotic species in the microbiome formula as well, and they are bacillus species, Bacillus coagulans, subtilis, and clausii. Those 3 probiotic species, they colonize our large intestine, and they've also been researched in intestinal health, and they have really excellent survivability data in the research as well. So that when you consume them, between 94 and 99% of the bacterial species, they survive the transit through the stomach and the small intestine and colonize the large intestine specifically. So that's an excellent kind of like all-in-one encompassing product if you're really wanting to consider digestive health and approaching it from a number of different sides, where you're supporting the home for the probiotics as well as the probiotics themselves.
That's what I love about mushrooms. There are just so many benefits out there that they yield. It's awesome. But I got to ask you, while I
I
still have
agree.
you too, you've been in this industry for over 25 years as well. So I always like to ask people, what's your favorite diet to help support gut health and control blood sugar? What have you seen work best for the majority of people? I know there's not a one size fits all.
Yes, and that's for sure. Everybody is an individual and unique, and there's different needs. I really myself, I personally trend towards the idea that, no matter what your diet is, considering increasing the consumption of plant proteins and unsaturated fats and fiber and complex whole foods like mushrooms or fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds, all of those things can contribute to a more pro-health gut microbiota, which can work in favor of supporting our overall health as well. And we're in this space in our culture where, it's a very large percentage of the population of our country does not get enough fiber in their daily diet. And I've heard the number 95% floated out there by some doctors who work in this field. And I find that to be really concerning, because we know that increasing fiber, again, helps to improve overall health functioning in a number of ways. So yeah, I'm all for plant proteins, fiber, unsaturated fats, complex whole foods. I feel like that's the place where if you can get yourself into that kind of diet mindset where daily you're feeding yourself with those types of substances, not only do you feel, you know, the benefit of being having those nutrients, but it also is going to, you know, provide you potentially with more energy. You know, we start shifting our digestion. It can change everything. It helps with mood. It helps with our immune health. If we're not getting enough fiber, if there's not enough fiber in our diet, you know, we are not necessarily producing enough short chain fatty acids. And those short chain fatty acids directly support our immune health, as well as a number of other functions within our body. So that's the
I
diet
totally
I would
agree with
suggest
that.
for the new year.
No, that's a great answer. It really is, Richard, because I totally am supportive of everything you said, and you're right. I mean, as many people I've consulted over the years, the average person was probably getting 5 to 7 grams a day. And what's the RDA nowadays? It's supposed to be like 25 grams. We're supposed to get an RDA level. It's
I
incredible that
believe
you're
so.
right. We're underproducing, or at least under eating the fibrous type foods we need, and that's so important. And not just to mention for the gut health, but for controlling blood sugar. So important for that side as
Absolutely.
too. So you're right. I love what you
Yeah.
said. That's a great answer as far as dietary habits. And I also want to know one last question. What's your New Year's resolution?
New Year's resolutions. Okay. I'm thinking a few weeks ahead here. Yeah, you know, I think that New Year's resolution most certainly is going to be to continue with the consistent exercise that I began about a year ago. I've been an individual who, for many different reasons, have gone seesawed back and forth with exercise, and over this last year, starting in September of 2019, I began a weekly exercise routine where every week, 3 to 4 times a week, I spend between 40 minutes and 2 hours exercising. Most of that is running with some yoga like stretching. And I have to say that that has really shifted my mind space and my energy levels like I haven't really experienced in my adult life before. I've always been somebody who was, you know, kind of active but not incredibly active, and now I'm finding that if I am not going out and running for one reason or another, like this summertime where I lived, there was a lot of wildfires, and so for a period of weeks I couldn't go out and run because of the smoke, and I was really feeling the difference. So keeping up with that exercise regimen, because I have a 6-year-old daughter that I need to really be able to kind of keep up with, and I want to be able to be as active with her in life as possible. And one of the things that my family talked about, my partner and I spoke about doing more this coming year is, you know, getting out into nature with the family and being able to spend more time out in the forest or on the ocean, and having those opportunities to kind of disconnect and turn off the all of the modern day like things that we have that are wonderful, but also can interfere with just the process of you know, of just staying calm, cool, and collected. So I think those two things I'm going to really strive to keep up and keep happening in the new year.
I think that's a great outlook. Just getting back to nature, right? I think more of us need that, and I love the resolution of just being more active. We know with the pandemic, most of us are not as active as we used to be, and we all just need to find a way to get moving around again and burn up the sugars we're consuming to help our gut out. There's so many benefits of just a little bit of exercise, even if it's walking, right?
Absolutely. I mean, even that, it's for so many people just going out and doing that and spending, a half hour or an hour and a half walking. I mean, I think it's really important. For me, the biggest benefit I think I found is not only like having some more energy, but it's really helped with my stress levels, especially during this year where stress is happening all of the time to us. And this last year, it's been dramatic at times and almost overwhelming. And getting into that space where I'm burning energy in my body, it really helps. When I come back into my home from those runs, the rest of my day, I feel that positive energy that is like being, transformed within myself, and I've really grown to appreciate it in a way that I I wasn't expecting necessarily when I decided, you know what, I really need to get into health. I'm in my late 40s now. I really want to be able to keep up with my daughter. I don't want to be, tired and feeling like I don't have the energy to keep going. And that stress relief was something that I was not expecting to have as part of that regular experience. And it's been really enjoyable for me.
Well, there's great research showing how exercise helps reduce our stress hormone cortisol. So yeah, there's a great benefit to why activity is so important part of our life. But really, in summary, it's like
Absolutely.
you said, we need more plant-based food, proteins, more fiber. We need to get active again, and then take our mushrooms, right? Help out our gut microbiome, our blood sugar, and everything else that they support. Richard, I so
Absolutely.
appreciate you being here today. I love your knowledge and I love your love for the fungi family. I think that's an important information that most people need to hear today.
Bryan, I really appreciate you too. This platform that you have is, I think, really important. And thanks so much for taking time with me today.
Well, thanks so much, Richard. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Healthy Approach Podcast. If you like this podcast, please subscribe because it helps out the channel. If you want to learn more about how mushrooms can benefit you, go to sunflowershoppe.com. That's shop with 2 P's and an E, or visit us at one of our 3 locations in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Until next time, stay healthy.